Good morning and happy Tuesday. Today we're going to be looking at character and conflict. So, below this video, you will find a little pages file to where you can fill in your own name here. And I have the chart all set up for you if you want to use this chart in recording your thinking today as you're reading another section of your book club books. All right, so for today, there are two sections of my story that I need to read and able to kind of get to the real meat and potato conflict of this story. So hang with me for a little bit, okay? All right, so the next section from our story, Flying Lessons, it comes out of this book, Flying Lessons and Other Stories. So it's called How to Transform an Everyday Ordinary Hoop Court into a Place of Higher Learning and You at the Podium. Okay, so this kid is really into basketball. He plays all the time, even on the weekends. He got good grades, so he can play basketball. Um, he hears about this gym that's down by his dad's work, and his dad leaves for work at like 4:30 in the morning. But he has asked his dad, like, "Hey, can I please go with you so I can try and play ball at this court?" And his dad's like, "Sure, as long as you can get up, get your skinny butt out the door." So here we go. It says, "There's only today. Know that when your alarm starts blaring at 4:30 the next morning, oops, sorry guys, you're going to have no idea where you are or what's happening. It'll be dark outside. Your sis will be snoring. When reality finally sets in, the lazy part of your brain will try and sweet talk you back to sleep. Maybe we could, skip the Muni trip today. Go ball at the park instead. There's always tomorrow. Reach into your own skull and smack this part of your brain upside the head. If you let it, this part of your brain will hold you back from every dream you will ever have. Trust me. Crawl out of bed, reminding yourself that your old man gets up like this every single day for work, rain or shine, and sickness and health. Your uncles, too. Respect them for this. Strive to be like them. During the entire 30-minute drive south, your old man will say 2 sentences to you max. Don't take it personally. Answer the question about the gym location and about how you heard it and how you heard about it. Buckle your seatbelt when he gives you one of his patented dirty looks before you even hit the freeway on ramp. You'll be done talking, but that's okay. Shift your focus to other details of the drive. The radio news he turns on, the smell of his steaming hot black coffee, the scattered cars along the dark freeway, and the subtle tick of his turn signal whenever he changes lanes. By the end of summer, these seemingly insignificant details will be ingrained in your brain. When he parks along the street near his factory, it'll still be a full 3 hours before the Muni gym opens. Better have your skinny butt back here by 3:45, he'll say, snatching his lunch pail out of the back seat. It's a long walk home, I'll tell you that. After he disappears around the bend, turn your attention to the ancient Volkswagen Bug. You'll wonder how the heck you're supposed to sleep inside such a tiny car. But after a little trial and error, you'll find a way. It will involve folding your 6'1" frame into a kind of human pretzel. Half of you will be in the back seat, while the other half is curled up in the front passenger seat. Your bag strategically lodged into the center console to keep the handbrake from digging into your ribs. By day 3, this next level yoga position will feel perfectly natural. But let's get something straight from the jump. This Muni Gym summer isn't going to be some kind of continuous loop of one shining moment. There will be low points too, on and off the court. Trust me. Remember that we're looking at conflict. So character and conflict. How does my character respond to conflict, okay? So here we go. A few weeks in, a meaty-faced cop will knock on the windshield with the butt of his nightstick. He'll look at you through aviator sunglasses. His right hand resting on a holstered gun. Okay, this sounds like conflict. So, I went ahead and I color-coded my conflicts and then how does my character respond. So this could definitely turn bad. And he has to figure out a way to deal with this, right? So, that's kind of the first one. I put police officer finds him sleeping in the car. So if we continue reading, he gives us some pretty good little steps. But he basically provides a respectful explanation and goes along with the officer into his dad's work. Okay, so I'm going to read you that section. He says, try not to panic. His suspicions will be based on two simple facts. One, this is the first time during his rounds he's ever stumbled across a kid sleeping at a 90-degree angle inside a VW bug. Two, your skin is brown. 2A, his skin will be brown too, maybe even browner. But don't spend too much time worrying yourself about this. There's a complex psychology behind this phenomenon, one you're not ready to wrap your head around yet. At the end of your respectful explanation, the cop will slowly remove his hand from his gun. He'll grab hold of your left elbow instead and steer you toward the front office of the factory. Your pop will be summoned, embarrassingly, over the loudspeaker. 2 minutes later, he'll emerge from the back, looking wildly stressed. This is not because you've done anything wrong. It's because he has his own history with cops. Stuff that happened long before you were born. Stuff nobody ever talks about. After the cop explains the situation, your pop will put on an uncomfortable smile and vouch for you. He'll say you're a good kid, that you're just down here to play some ball at the gym in Balboa Park. He'll shake hands with the cop enthusiastically, thanking him for his service and apologizing for any trouble you may have caused. So, one conflict diverted. Police officer finds him sleeping in the car. Our character, Matt, respectfully says, hey, this is what's going on, provides a respectful explanation, as I highlighted here, and goes along with the officer. So he didn't fight, he didn't struggle, he didn't say, but I'm just down here to play ball. Why you gotta go tell my dad? Didn't cause any issues. He just was like, yes, sir. All right, so let's keep reading. Soon the cop leaves, though your pops will transform back into himself. Don't you worry about that power-happy pendejo, he'll say, rubbing your shoulder. You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do nothing wrong. I was just sleeping. Mexicans are allowed to sleep too. He'll look you straight in the eyes, nodding, and at this moment you'll feel even closer to your old man than ever before. Fortunately, that's the only morning you'll be woken up by a nightstick. Every other morning, it'll be the alarm on your phone, and you'll be free to climb out of the bug at your leisure. Stretch your stiff arms and legs, breathe in the warm Hillcrest air, and remove your rock from your bag. It's time to get a move on. It won't take but 3 days to know all the shortcuts to Muni. Dribble through the middle school playground where summer camp kids play double dutch and hopscotch and dodgeball. Dribble in and out of sleeping cars in the massive San Diego zoo parking lot. Dribble through crowds of camera-toting tourists shuffling toward the front gates of the zoo. Dribble past the various hot dog stands, the ice cream truck with 2 flat tires, the leather-faced man selling raspas, who looks like your late abuelito. By the end of the summer, these vendors will all recognize you and wave. It will take a little more than an hour for you to arrive at the large dilapidated building with 2 locked green doors. Butterflies will dance inside your chest. That first time and every time following, even years from now. And that's how it should be, because you can sense it. Here is where you will learn the world. Okay, so we're getting into the big section. So thanks for hanging with me during that section. But it adds to the story and that level of respect between him and his dad, and for you to even be able to see his dedication to being able to play ball at this specific court. Okay? All right. Sentence to the bleachers. While you wait for gym manager Jimmy to arrive by bicycle with his massive ring of rattling keys, listen to the grown men around you. To the uninitiated, they're uneducated. They're poor, black, crass, shifty, steely-eyed, a reason across the street. But over the course of the summer, you will soak up everything around you. You will hear the brilliance, the poetry, the philosophy, the verbal dance of on-court banter. They will laugh harder and more often than anyone you've ever known. And you will laugh too, especially a few weeks into the summer. when they turn their wrath on you. They'll begin by calling you Mexico, even though your Spanish is suspect at best. They will ask why you're inside the gym and not crouched in a field somewhere picking strawberries or kicking around a soccer ball. They will tell you you're too young to ball with them, too skinny, too light in the pocket, too soft. Come back in 3 years, they'll say, or maybe 10. You will laugh your way through all of this, sensing that their digs are some warped version of acceptance. Okay, so again, this racism, unfortunately, poor guy. So what problems conflict has my main character dealt with? And that's just what I put. Like, they're looking at him at face value and saying, oh, you're Mexican, and then taking every stereotype and throwing it at him. So I put this is the conflict that he's dealing with. But he handles it pretty well. He laughs along with them, and he knows that this is how they begin to realize he's even there. I took that from sensing that their digs are some warped version of acceptance. So they're finally seeing him. They're like, what are you doing here, kid? And they're trying to kind of scare him off, but then seeing if he'll stick around and actually be able to be part of their group, to be on the court with them. So he's kind of he kind of has to accept it, deal with it to be able to play at the court. A week in, a guy everyone calls Mr. Unleaded, because he's the night manager of a nearby gas station, will tear into you about your long, skinny, no muscle having arms, and without blinking, you'll fire back a dig about the ghetto Superman tat sketched into his right forearm. And why would you knowingly walk into a gym full of kryptonite? Everyone loitering outside the gym that morning, waiting for Jimmy, will roar in laughter and stomp their feet and bump fists. And to your surprise, it'll be Mr. Unleaded who laughs hardest of all. So again, he's just kind of going along with it. He's taking it in stride. But as much as you'll begin to blend in off the court, on the court will be a completely different story. The first day, you won't get into a single game. Not one. You'll follow everyone inside the dark gym. Set down your stuff in the bleachers like they do. Hit the court with everyone for a handful of warm-up jumpers. But when it comes time to select squads, you'll find yourself on the outside looking in. When you try to call next, they'll ignore you. You'll ask the overweight knee brace dude if you can run with his squad. He's still 3 games away, but you've got all day. He'll nod and say in a deep smoker voice, "You down, young buck? I got you." But an hour later, when his team is finally set to take the court, he'll drop you for a balding big man. Okay, so here we go. For 2 weeks, no one will let him play. So this is kind of where we are. This is another conflict. He's there. He's sleeping in a tiny car for 3 hours before the gym even opens, only to be shut down. No, you can't play with us. Or he gets his hopes up and he's like, yeah, can I play with you and your crew? And then he gets replaced by an old dude. Like, that's got to hurt his feelings. So we'll see what happens. At first, this basketball blackballing will tear you up inside. You know you can hang. Your jumper is as pure as anyone's in the gym, except maybe this guy they call Dante, who never misses. Sure, these dudes are bigger and stronger and more aggressive, but at the very least, you could be a dependable distributor. You know where to put a good lob. Put a lob on the fast break so your big man can mash it down with a guttural growl. You plead with the guys standing on the sidelines. You gotta let me play, man. I can ball, I swear. But these outbursts of self-promotion will fall on deaf ears. All you'll do that first day is hoist a few jumpers between games, then retreat back to the bleachers to watch. The next day, it'll be the same thing. The day after that. Those first 2 weeks, you'll participate in a grand total of 1 run. If you can even count the end of the day 3-on-3 debacle you spend guarding a homeless man wearing soulless Timberlands. One afternoon, it'll hit you especially hard on the long walk back to the car. You'll keep quiet on the drive home, then retreat to an overturned bucket in the alley behind your building. where you'll have a serious heart-to-heart with yourself. Sure, it's the best pickup you've ever seen, but they won't even let you play. They're prejudiced against Mexicans, or soon-to-be ninth graders, or both. Why wake up at the crack of dawn, sleep folded up in a VW bug, just to sit in the bleachers all day? Nah, man, this won't work. You're a baller, not a spectator. At least at the court down the street, you can work up a sweat. On your way to your room that night, you'll break the news to your old man. Just so you know, Pop, I'm not driving down with you anymore. Thanks for taking me all those times. He'll look up from his beer with a frown. What happened? You're a pretty tough kid. Nothing much gets to you. But for some reason, his question will put a lump in your throat. It's just, I don't even know why, but they won't let me play. Secretly, you'll be hoping for a little piece of fatherly advice, but you won't get it. He'll chuckle instead and turn back to his beer. You won't set your alarm that night. You'll sink into bed, excited by the thought of sleeping in, relieved to be downshifting back into the old routine. But something odd will happen. The next morning, your body will instinctively wake up at 4:30. You'll sit up, rubbing your eyes confused. Your hands will unconsciously reach into the dirty clothes for your hoop gear, and your feet, against executive orders, will carry you out to the car a few minutes before 5. When your old man sees you standing there, he'll chuckle again, but he won't say anything. Okay, so today we're really just looking at the character and the conflict. So how does my character respond to conflict? So for 2 weeks, no one will let him play. And honestly, this is where he starts to kind of show that he's a kid and he's struggling with this. So he begs them to play. And then he practices shooting at home and for a serious heart-to-heart. So he needs some time to kind of think about it and process what's going on. This is a good choice. This character, I love this character. I think he's awesome. He becomes frustrated and believes it's because he's a ninth grader or Mexican. And then he even tells his dad he's not going anymore. So tells dad he's not going to the gym anymore. Okay, so, good morning, Max. Looking at your stuff that you need to do here, you need to read, and then you're going to be responding to what problems and conflict does my main character have to deal with and how do they respond to it. So looking at the notes that I have on my page, really this is the full meat and potatoes of the conflict. So this blue box is going to be what I would be sharing. So what problems, conflict does my main character have to deal with? Well, he's sleeping in this tiny car, waking up at the crack of dawn during his summer vacation, only to be shut down for 2 weeks and not allowed to play basketball. So how does he respond to it? He kind of goes through a process. He shuts down, or he begs them, and then he kind of shuts down. But then he ends up waking back up again, ready to go. So that's what I would be posting. Happy reading, guys, today. And I really hope that you're enjoying these book club books. These books all have their own unique, special things about them, and I hope that you're finding those. All right, happy reading.